Good afternoon. This is Kathleen Drew, Chair of the Washington State Energy Facility Site Evaluation Council, calling today's meeting to order. Ms. Grantham, will you call the roll?
Yes. Department of Commerce.
Kate Kelly, present.
Department of Ecology. Department
Eli
of
Levitt, present.
Thank you. Department of Fish and Wildlife.
Mike Livingston, I'm present.
Department of Natural Resources.
Lena Young, present.
Utilities and Transportation Commission.
Stacy Brewster, present.
Local government and optional state agencies for the Horse Heaven Project. Department of Agriculture.
Excused.
Benton County. For the
present.
Thank you. For the Badger Mountain Project, Douglas County.
Jordan Julio, present.
The Assistant Attorney General.
John Thompson, present.
Administrative Law Judges, Adam Torum.
This is Judge Torum.
Laura Bradley.
This is Judge Bradley, present.
For the EFSEC staff, Sonia Bumpus.
Sonia Bumpus is present.
Amy Hofgemeyer.
Amy Hofgemeyer, present.
Amy Moon.
Amy Moon, I'm here.
Joe Wood.
Joe Wood, present.
Patty Betts. Stu Henderson.
Stuart Henderson's here.
Joan Owens.
Present.
Dave Walker.
Present.
For the operational updates, Kittitas Valley Wind Project.
Excused.
Wild Horse Wind Power Project.
Jennifer Galbraith, present.
Grace Harbor Energy Center.
This is Chris Sharon for Grace Harbor Energy Center.
Chehalis Generation Facility. Columbia Generating Station.
Alicia Naharat Paxton, present.
Columbia Solar. Council for the Environment, Bill Sherman.
Sarah Reineveld is here for Council for the Environment.
Okay, so Bill Sherman and Megan Salome are not present.
No, I am here representing Council of the Environment.
Thank you. Chair, there is a quorum for the regular council and for the Horse Heaven and Badger Mountain Council.
Thank you. Moving on to our proposed agenda. We have sent that out and you have that in your packets and it's being displayed. Is there a motion to adopt that as our agenda?
Lena Young, so moved.
Mike Livingston will second that.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor of approving the agenda, adopting the agenda, excuse me, please say aye.
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 All those opposed? The agenda is adopted. Moving on to the meeting minutes, we have 4 sets of meeting minutes before us, so we'll take them one at a time. The first is the May 17th, 2022 monthly meeting minutes that are there before you. And is there a motion to approve the May meeting minutes?
This is Kate Kelly. I move to approve the May 17th meeting minutes.
Second?
Stacy Brewster, second.
Thank you. I have a few changes, minor changes. On page 38, line 6, BTA should be BPA. On page 38, line 13, The two-word combination blackout space line should be, quote, black space outline. On page 38, line 17, the word land should be line. Are there any other changes? Hearing none, the vote would be to approve the minutes as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The minutes for May 17th council meeting are approved. Moving on to the, what is next? Informational public meeting, June 1st for Cypress Creek Renewables. Is there a motion to approve those minutes? Let me combine the informational public, we'll do it in one motion, meeting and the land use consistency hearing, both on June 1st, those two sets of minutes. Is there a motion to approve those?
Kate,
This is Kate.
Kate.
Go ahead, Kate.
Chair, I move to approve the informational and land use. I don't know if I said that right. The two sets of meeting minutes from June 1st.
That's fine. Ms. Brewster, second?
I'll second.
Thank you. I do have changes for the public informational meeting on page 10, line 20. F-site should be EFSEC. On page 12, line 9, cited spelled C-I-T-E-D should be cited spelled S-I-T-E-D. Those are my two changes for this set of minutes. Are there any others? Any other amendments? Hearing none. Yes.
I have one. So page 25, line 13. I believe that's supposed to be least path cost analysis as opposed to lease.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
Any other changes? So we will be voting on the approval of the minutes from June 1st, the informational meeting and the land use consistency hearing as amended. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. And to our final set, the June 21st council meeting. Motion to approve.
This is Stacy Brewster. I'll move to approve the June 21st monthly meeting minutes.
Thank you. Second?
Lenny Young, second.
Thank you. I have a couple of changes here. First of all, on page 10, line 23, delete the word appointment and add the word planting, P-L-A-N-T-I-N-G. And on page 12, line 2, delete DE dash before the word minimization. Are there additional corrections to the July monthly meeting? No, that would be the June 21st council meeting minutes. Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of approving the agenda or the minutes from the June 21st council meeting, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. Thank you. Back to our agenda, we have now moving on to the projects, the Kittitas Valley Wind Project operational update. Ms. Moon will be sharing that today.
Thank you, Chair Drew. Eric Malbardis is not with us, so I will give his update. There were no non-routine items to report for the month of June, and the power generated, as you can read, but the callers cannot see, was 27,975 megawatt hours. That was it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to the Wild Horse Wind Power Project, Ms. Galbraith.
Yes, thank you, Chair Drew, council members and staff. This is Jennifer Galbraith representing Puget Sound Energy for the Wild Horse Wind Facility, and I have no non-routine updates for the month of June.
Thank you. Chehalis Generation Facility, Mr. Schnitger.
Good afternoon.
We're having difficulty hearing you. If you can speak up, please.
Get closer to the microphone.
Okay, that's better. Thank you. Yes.
Management, the generation facility. I have nothing non-routine to report for the month of June.
Thank you. Moving on to Grays Harbor Energy Center, Mr. Sharon.
Good afternoon, Chair Drew, council members, staff. This is Chris Sharon, plant manager from Grays Harbor Energy Center. I have nothing non-routine to report for the month of June. And I did just send you correction under operations and maintenance. It says 11.175 megawatt hours. That should be 11,175. So correction has been sent.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Moving on to the Columbia Generating Station and WNP 1 and 4, Ms. Nahara Paxton.
Thank you, Chair Drew and council members and staff. This is Felicia Nahara Paxton, and I'm the principal environmental scientist for CGS. CGS had a net electrical generation in June of 650,160 milliwatt hours, and we have no update on environmental compliance. We do have a safety compliance update. The 2022 World Association of Nuclear Operators, or WANO, did a peer review of CGS's Environmental Response Organization preparedness drill. They are completing this emergency management performance evaluation, which reviews the ability of station workers to prepare for and respond to emergency conditions at the station. This team's observations will be used as input into an on-site evaluation that will commence October 31st through November 11th. Also, the Washington State Fire Marshal re-inspected the IDC and CGS non-power block buildings on June 15th. And that completes my update.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I'm going to interrupt. I think that Felicia meant to say megawatt hours. We had the same slip up when we were reading with Milla. Oh my goodness, thank you.
I think it's today. There is something.
That's hilarious. It's the scientist in me. I'll go with that.
Thank
Sorry.
you. Thanks, Ms. Malone.
Thank you.
No worries. Okay, moving on to the Columbia Solar Project, Mr. Hurd.
Good afternoon, Chair Drew, council members, and EFSEC staff. This is Owen Hurd from Tuso Energy reporting on the Columbia Solar Project. Penstemon is and remains online and operational. Camas, we're in the process of issuing substantial completion, so that should be any day. Mechanical completion is also expected shortly on Urtica, and then substantial completion will be in late August. We've been in discussions with that on our EFSEC staff on our planting plans, and I'm expecting to have an updated plan submitted later by the end of this week. We had some delays with initial weed spraying, but that's all been kind of handled now on all three projects, and we'll be scheduling a second TAC meeting next month. That's all I've got.
Chair Drew, you are on mute.
Oh, thank you. Our next agenda item is the Horse Heaven Wind Farm SEPA update. Ms. Moon.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Council Chair Drew and council members. For the record, this is Amy Moon, an EFSEC staff member. I am providing the State Environmental Policy Act, or SEPA, update on the Horse Heaven Wind project. In June, EFSEC staff continued to work closely with our contractor Golder on the preparation of the draft environmental impact statement, otherwise known as a draft EIS. All resource sections of the draft EIS have been through at least a first review, and our focus is on completing second and final draft reviews, refinement of EIS chapters, and further development of proposed minimization and mitigation opportunities. Does the council have any questions?
Are there any questions for Ms. Moon? Oh, thank you. The questions at this point in time are for council members only. Thank you. If you have a question and a member of the public, feel free to email us at efsec.wa.gov. Moving on to our next item on the agenda, Goose Prairie Solar Project. Mr. Wood.
Good afternoon, Chair Drew, EFSEC Council and staff. This is Joe Wood providing the monthly update for the Goose Prairie Solar Project in Yakima County, Washington. EFSEC staff continues to work with Brookfield, the new owner of Goose Prairie LLC, on pre-construction surveys and plans. Most recently, Brookfield has been working on finalizing a habitat conservation mitigation plan along with EFSEC and Department of Fish and Wildlife. EFSEC will continue to work with Brookfield to obtain the required pre-construction and construction plans, and will continue to update the council at future meetings. And that's it.
There I go again. Are there any questions for Mr. Wood from the council? Okay, moving on then. Badger Mountain Solar Energy Project, and that's Ms. Hofgemeyer.
Thank you, Chair Drew. Good afternoon, council and staff. For the record, this is Amy Hofgemeyer. EFSEC staff are continuing to coordinate with the applicant and our contracted agencies for review. Staff also attended a site visit with the applicant and Department of Natural Resources on July 12th to review areas of interest as identified throughout our review. This will inform the scope for the draft environmental impact statement. Are there any questions?
Hearing none, thank you for your report. Moving on to Whistling Ridge project update, Ms. Hofgemeyer.
Thank you. EFSEC staff are waiting for the certificate holder to submit the remaining materials for the SCA amendment request. There are no further updates at this time. We will keep the council up to date as we receive more information.
Thank you. Moving on to High Top and Ostria, the project update, Ms. Hofgemeyer.
Thank you. EFSEC staff continue to work with the applicant and contracted agencies for our review as we work towards a SEPA determination. On July 12th, EFSEC received a letter from the applicant requesting an extension of the expedited process determination, which you will see in your council packets. Are there any questions before I give a little bit of background on this extension request?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Per our rules in Washington Administrative Code, or WAC 463-43050, this decision is made within 120 days of receipt of an application or such later time as is mutually agreed by the applicant and the council. The application was received on April 7th, 2022, and the 120 days would be up on August 6th. EFSEC staff have discussed this timeline with the applicant in light of the ongoing review with our contracted agencies, as well as other considerations. This letter requests an extension of the expedited process decision for 10 weeks to be made by October 20th. Staff recommend that the council approve this request to extend the expedited process decision to that time. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions from council members? Okay, hearing none, it's at this point in the process, I was talking with our staff before the meeting went live about new procedures that are going into place because of amendments to the Open Public Meetings Act, which went into effect in last month, which require governing bodies like the council to take public comments at any public meeting where the governing body is taking final action. In our case, OPMA defines final action broadly to include any vote on a motion. So we will have a motion, on this extension. The council will open it up for anyone who wishes to comment on the matter coming before the council for final action on the agenda. And I'm going to ask all those to comment to limit their comments to 1 minute. I do want to read you the specific RCW or parts of it, 42.30.240. It says, except in an emergency situation, the governing body of a public agency shall provide an opportunity at or before every regular meeting at which final action is taken for public comment. The public comment required under this section may be taken orally at a public meeting or by providing an opportunity for written testimony to be submitted before or at the meeting. If the governing body accepts written testimony, this testimony must be distributed to the governing body. The governing body may set a reasonable deadline for the submission of written testimony before the meeting. In this case, the council will be taking comment orally. And I'd like to ask if there's, and this is specifically and only on the extension of the deadline for the High Top and Ostria projects. It is not on any other subject. So if you would like to comment on the topic of the extension, I would ask you to raise your hand if you are using the Microsoft Teams application, or to put a message in the chat. And after we see if anyone would like to comment in that manner, I will then open it up for anybody who has called in. So at this point in time, is there anyone who would like to comment specifically on the vote before us today, which is to extend the
expedited processing decision.
Thank you. The expedited processing decision until our October meeting. I don't see any hands and I don't see any messages in chat. So I will ask those who have called in if you would like to comment on the expedited processing decision being extended. You may unmute now and introduce yourself. We will give you a minute for your comment. I do not hear anyone who wishes to comment, so we will close the comment period now.
Chair Drew, this is Lenny Young. I'm seeing a hand up for an attendee whose number ends in 52.
Thank you. Would that person like to begin their comment now and introduce yourself?
Chair Drew, this is Joan Owens. I'm not seeing the same hands up that Councilmember Young is seeing. What are the last 4 digits of the number that you're seeing, Councilmember Young?
Most of the digits are blanked out with little star symbols. It starts with 13 and ends in 52, and it's under attendees.
If the person with the hand raised would like to comment, please unmute yourself and we will take your comment.
And another indication from that same number just appeared with the full number, and looks like the hand is taken down.
I see them. They might be having some connection issues.
If you are, yes, thank you, Mr. Levitt. If you are on the phone and wish to unmute, it is *6. So if you'd like to unmute to make a comment, you need to dial, no, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. It's #6. #6.
Sorry, I don't have a comment. This is Mary Rapar. Your numbers are so weird compared to Zoom numbers. And so I've been pressing *6 and *5.
Pound. It's #6.
Okay.
Pound.
I don't have a public comment. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. At this point, I will close the public comment and move on to the motion. Is there a motion to accept the recommendation to extend the expedited processing decision to October 20th, 2022 for the High Top and Ostria projects?
Kate Kelly, so moved.
Thank you. Second?
Lenny Young, second.
Is there any discussion? Okay, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? The motion is adopted. Thank you. We'll continue to improve on our new process. So if council members or others wish to let us know how we can improve, we appreciate it. Moving on to the next item on our agenda, Watoma Solar Project. And that is Ms. Hofkemeyer.
Thank you. EFSEC staff are currently working on a review of the application with our contracted agencies. We have also scheduled the public informational meeting and land use consistency hearing for Monday evening, August 8th. Staff are still finalizing the details for the venue, and we will update the council when this information is available. The public may attend either virtually or in person. Are there any questions?
Council members, it is also your option to attend either in person or virtually. I will be there in person, as will some of our staff. So please let Ms. Grantham know if you are able to attend, and if so, if that will be virtually or in person. Any further? Go ahead, Ms. Kelly.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the Watoma, I had thought we got an application back in May, but then we recently got a notice that the application was submitted in either June or July. Am I?
So, yeah, I
Yes.
can clarify that. We received the application materials, like the actual information about the project earlier back in May. Per our rules, the application isn't considered received until we received the deposit. And there was some delay in the mail, I believe it was, actually receiving the deposit. So we received the deposit in June, and that's when our application is considered received. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you for that clarification. I appreciate it.
Yes, and
Sure
then
thing.
all the dates moving forward are subject to that June date rather than the day when we received some of the materials.
Correct.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's move on to the cost allocation. Ms. Bumpus.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Drew and council members. This is a presentation on the non-direct cost allocation for first quarter fiscal year 2023. This covers July 1, 2022 to September 30, 2022. I'm going to read off the percentages for the non-direct cost allocations by project. This also adds the Watoma Solar Project. You'll notice for Kittitas Valley Wind Power Project, 4%. Wild Horse is 4%. Columbia Generating Station, 22%. Columbia Solar, 5%. WNP1, 3%. Whistling Ridge, 3%. Grays Harbor 1 and 2, 8%. Chehalis Generation Project is 8%. Desert Claim, 5%, or sorry, excuse me, 3%. Goose Prairie Solar, 5%. Horse Heaven Wind Power Project is 15%. Badger Mountain, 7%. Cypress Creek Renewables, the High Top Ostria Project, 7%. Watoma Solar Project, finally, 6%. And that concludes my update on the non-direct cost allocations. Are there any questions?
Questions from council members? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have an update on our transition. As many of you know, as all the council members know, EFSEC became an independent agency rather than being supported through the UTC for administrative services on June 30th. So with us is our Administrative Services Director, Dave Walker. Mr. Walker.
Chair Drew, thank you. Sorry, I was having problems with my mute button. For the record, this is Dave Walker, Interim Director of Administrative Services for EFSEC. Thank you for the opportunity today to speak to our progress on the transition and our short and medium term goals as we move through the transition process. As Chair Drew mentioned, EFSEC became an independent agency on June 30th of this year, and obviously there are a lot of things that come along with that when you are an independent agency, and we're going to talk at a very high level as we go through that. Next slide, please. So first and foremost, I do want to apologize. Not all of the boxes transferred correctly as we were trying to put this slide together, but I think it gives you the information as to where we are headed as an agency with the new organizational structure. Prior to EFSEC becoming an independent agency, the structure was fairly flat. In other words, there weren't levels of supervision within the agency. As we stand up to become an independent agency, we are going to not only create those levels of supervision within the agency, but we also want to make sure that we are developing career paths for our employees as we're moving forward. This is just the very beginning that you are seeing here. I anticipate that we're going to have some additional changes as we move forward, but this is where we're at right now. So as you can see, we have taken the agency and essentially split it into two separate functions. One of those functions is what we call front office, which is the operational end of siting and compliance. And all of that falls under Amy Hofkemeyer, the Director of Siting and Compliance. On the left side, you'll notice that we have split out our administrative services. I have taken the position of director on an interim basis as we move forward through the transition. And you see below me there, we have Stuart Henderson, Senior Policy Advisor, and you'll notice that we have a couple of new positions as well as one current position that we are going to be recruiting for or are currently recruiting for now. And the next slide will give us a better look at what we have done thus far. Thank you. So what's changed? Sonia Bumpus is now the Director of EFSEC as of June 30th this year. Joan Owens has moved into the executive assistant to the director position, which not only supports the director, but also the chair. Andrea Grantham has stepped into the administrative assistant 3 position. As we had talked about just moments ago, Amy Hofkemeyer is now the Director of Siting Compliance. I've taken the interim Director of Administration. Amy Moon has stepped into the Senior Siting and Compliance Specialist, which is a lead position. Amy has tremendous experience with siting and compliance, and we wanted to capitalize on that through her leadership skills and knowledge of the process. And then Cindy Smith is currently our interim contractor for media relations. Next slide, please. So we had talked about current positions that we're recruiting for, but also new ones that we had created. So I wanted to put this in a format that was very easy to read. As you can see, currently recruiting for the environmental planner. Patty Betts wishes to retire very soon, and it's going to be very, very difficult to replace her. We're sorry to see her go, but completely understand. We have 2 siting and compliance specialist positions that we are currently recruiting for now. We have the commerce specialist position, which falls within my division and will be helping us with all of the back-end functionality, record keeping, so forth. And then we have a forms and records analyst that we want to bring in. This position is going to be specifically for helping us with public records requests, sending records to the archive with Secretary of State, monitoring all of our forms, making sure that we're in compliance. But one of the larger pieces that I really want this position to focus on is creating more of an open data concept on our external website so that we can reduce the number of hours that our staff are putting into fulfilling records requests that come from the public. So new positions that we're not yet recruiting, the Director of Administration, and I suspect we'll probably be recruiting that early next year. Legislation, Policy, and Rules Manager. As you all know, once you become an agency, you have many things that you have to pay attention to, and legislation is a big one. We need an individual that can be on the Hill advocating for EFSEC and making sure that members understand exactly what EFSEC is about and what we do. We're also going to be recruiting for a second administrative assistant position. We right now believe that One AA will be supporting each of the divisions within the agency. Andrea Grantham obviously took one of those. We'll be hiring for the other one shortly. And then the siting and compliance specialist position that we had created dependent upon the amount of work that's going to be coming at us over the next, say, 1 to 2 years and even beyond. Next slide, please. So our short and medium term priorities as we continue through standing up EFSEC as an independent agency. Obviously, we want to recruit our new and vacant positions as quickly as possible so that we can continue to provide the level of service. But we also need to establish additional contracts, media communications, records management as just an example, and that's the tip of the iceberg as we look longer term. We need to update external website, and we need to develop an intranet for our staff so that they have resources at their fingertips. They're not spending a lot of time searching for things that should be right there in front of them. We want to begin to develop a larger presence for the open data, as I had talked about a little bit earlier. We need to finish establishing our agency policies, and these are not only administrative policies, but we need to look at operational policies as we're moving forward. And then finally, now that we're a new agency, we need to take a step back and just take a look at our cost recovery model and make sure that it really is addressing all of the potentially additional costs being an independent agency that we're going to be taking on as we move forward. And then finally, we need to develop internal administrative processes for our public records requests, public comment forum, applications for green hydrogen, clean energy manufacturing, and so forth. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us. This really is going to be identifying the short term, which will probably be within the next 6 to 12 months. We'll be working on longer term strategies as a leadership team as we move forward. Next slide. And does the council have any questions at this point?
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Are there any questions from council members?
This is Stacy Brewster. Not a question, but just a comment. Thanks for all the work you guys have been doing on this transition, and congratulations to the staff who have moved into some promotions.
Thank you. One other item I would like to mention is in terms of our location, it is, I guess we haven't made the final decision, but it's likely we will be continuing to lease space from the UTC in our current location, physical location. So that means we won't be strangers to you, Ms. Brewster, in your location there. So
I'm glad
yeah, exactly. So thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you. One more item I would like to bring up for the good of the order is, as Dave mentioned, Cindy Smith has joined us as our interim media and contractor. So Cindy Smith has many years of experience working with state agencies and working through the public processes and how we do our work internally as well as outreach to media and communications. And so she has joined us for a short period of time to help us establish our own communications program, which will also be taking a look at our website, hoping to improve and to put into place actually some social media presence and some other items that are on our to-do list as we move forward. So Ms. Smith, would you say hello to the council members?
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Kathleen, for the introduction, and I'm really happy to have this opportunity to work with EFSEC and staff and the council. It's truly an honor, and I thank you.
Thank you. So if there is no further business, the monthly meeting for EFSEC is adjourned. Thank you all for your participation.